Chapter 1. The First People Who Tried Controlling Dreams. In the quiet night of a modest laboratory at Stanford University in 1975, a small group of volunteers prepared to do something seemingly impossible. Each of them wore wired headbands that connected them to monitors. Electrodes traced subtle shifts in electrical activity in their brains, while researchers observed the gentle waves of sleep unfolding. But this wasn't ordinary sleep research. Tonight, these volunteers aimed to establish direct communication between their dreams and the waking world. They intended to send a deliberate signal from within a dream, a goal so ambitious that most researchers considered it impossible. Among them was a volunteer named Alan Worsley. Alan's mission was clear yet daunting. He would fall asleep, enter a dream, and once inside, consciously move his eyes to signal researchers that he was aware and in control, awake within the dream. Such a signal had never been reliably demonstrated in a sleep lab environment. Researchers watched carefully, skeptical but hopeful, ready to capture and interpret these subtle signals from deep within a dreaming mind. Hours passed quietly. Then, unexpectedly, the monitors picked up a sudden clear signal from Alan, a purposeful movement of his eyes, sweeping left and right repeatedly. Inside his dream, Alan remembered his instructions clearly and consciously carried them out. Researchers stood amazed. Here was direct proof, objective evidence, that a person can become entirely aware within a dream state. That simple movement of Alan's eyes was historic. It clearly proved that during rapid eye movement, what scientists call REM sleep, the stage characterized by vivid dreams, conscious awareness was possible. Alan's successful eye signaling cracked open a door toward a scientific understanding of something humans had long spoken about in myths and stories, the art of lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is just a scientific term for knowing that you're dreaming while you're still dreaming. But it's more than just knowing. It's consciously interacting with the dream. Lucid dreamers often describe being able to actively influence and shape this inner experience, controlling scenarios, exploring dream worlds, even confronting fears. Today, you might call it the oldest form of dream hacking. But this practice began not in laboratories. It traces back through centuries, forming deep roots in distant cultures and traditions far older than modern neuroscience. Hundreds of years earlier, high in the Himalayas, Tibetan monks practiced specific meditation techniques known as dream yoga. Long before laboratory studies, these monks quite deliberately trained their minds to maintain full consciousness during sleep. Dream yoga was a path towards spiritual clarity as much as a cognitive skill, a disciplined method to achieve profound insight by controlling their dreams. Monks described clear and vibrant dreaming experiences, rich with intention, clarity, and insight, as vivid as waking experience itself. To these ancient dreamers, lucidity wasn't some laboratory curiosity. It was an essential part of spiritual development, a way to train the mind overnight, just as meditation did by day. But lucid dreaming wasn't confined just to spiritual rituals. Artists, inventors, and visionaries have long sought ways to capture fleeting dreams, grasping at creative insight hidden beneath the sleepy brain's surface. The painter Salvador Dalí famously pursued creativity through a simple yet ingenious method. Dalí would doze off, holding a heavy metallic key above a metal plate on the floor. Just as he drifted into sleep, his hand muscles relaxed, dropping the key, producing a loud clanging noise and jolting him back awake. In these brief micro-naps, he claimed, dream fragments floated in front of him. Gift-wrapped creativity he then quickly captured in paintings that felt vividly alive yet strangely unreal. Throughout history, romantic and philosophical curiosity toward dream control has coexisted with considerable skepticism from scientists, particularly early neuroscientists who, until quite recently, viewed dream consciousness as somewhere between doubtful and impossible. Dreams were seen merely as random, meaningless firings of brain cells, unstructured scraps that held no possibility of conscious control or intentionality. The idea that sleepers could actually direct their dream actions seemed closer to superstition than reality. To clarify, it's essential to understand exactly what we mean by controlling a dream. Rather than merely remembering a dream after you wake up, which almost everyone occasionally does, controlling a dream means that, during the dream itself, you're aware of dreaming and can purposefully alter events or explore scenarios through deliberate choices. Just as you might consciously direct your attention or make decisions in real life, lucid dreaming is the mental equivalent, becoming actively aware and making purposeful decisions within your dream narrative. Today, dreams captivate researchers even more. Modern motivations for lucid dreaming go far beyond curiosity or spiritual pursuit. Therapists use lucid dreaming as a promising treatment, helping patients confront phobias or anxiety triggers safely inside dreams, where threats become manageable. Artists, writers, and musicians actively seek lucid dreaming to cultivate new ideas and to fuel creativity. Entertainment and leisure also factor. People increasingly seek lucid dreams just out of curiosity or personal fulfillment, enjoying experiences impossible to encounter while awake. But this rising popularity brings ethical questions we'll revisit later in this exploration. Can controlling dreams somehow negatively impact our mental health or distort our emotional reality? Should we manipulate our dreams without considering potential consequences? We'll return to these questions later, but for now, understand how they lurk just beneath the surface of enthusiasm for this deeply personal technological leap in self-awareness. One of the most fascinating consequences of early experiments like Stanford's is how they've paved a clear path toward modern wearable dream technology. Today, sleep and dream trackers, simple watches, headbands, or smartphone apps promise to improve our sleep, increase dreaming intensity, or even trigger lucid dreams. None of these wearable devices would exist without those first tentative scientific breakthroughs decades ago. So we arrive at a fundamental puzzle. If lucid dreaming is nothing new, if monks, artists, and ordinary dreamers have managed it for generations, then why isn't everyone already doing it? If it's so old, why don't we all regularly experience controlled, aware dreams? Throughout this episode, you'll find answers focused not just on culture or motivation, but on practical details, biology, and indeed, evolution itself. To truly understand dreams, we need to unpack the biology of sleep, especially what happens during the powerful phase called REM sleep, when vivid, narrative-rich dreaming occurs. What exactly is happening inside your brain during REM? Why is it infinitely more complicated than simply switching off and tuning out from the waking world? Why would a consciously aware dream state remain rare, elusive, and difficult to master naturally? Scientists have now turned dreaming into a measurable activity thanks to pioneering experiments in labs like Stanford's. Alan Worsley's remarkable eye signals, early dream yoga by Tibetan monks, and Salvador Dali's eccentric micronaps all helped pave the way to today's understanding. These pioneers, scattered through history and bound by vision, provided stepping stones through science, culture, and technology, guiding humanity forward in a slow, careful, yet inevitable movement toward understanding and eventually harnessing the dreaming mind. Yet before we fully grasp these remarkable breakthroughs, we have to go deeper. To move forward, we first have to rewind. Before we can reliably enter and control our dreams, we must first understand the basics, fundamental questions about the brain that sleeps, dreams, and awakens each morning, ready once again to make sense of this strangely incomplete and fragmented nighttime journey. Now, with history and context fresh in our minds, it's essential we clarify precisely how the sleeping brain works. How does your brain transition from a waking state into strange and vivid dream worlds? What internal mechanisms drive vivid imagery, emotional intensity, bizarre yet oddly consistent storytelling, and the perplexing fact that despite wild fantasies and impossible events, the dreaming brain often accepts them as real without question? Let's now examine carefully how your sleeping brain actually functions. Understanding these biological secrets of the dreaming mind will help explain not just why we dream, but how each one of us might tap into this powerful human experience more fully. Let's step inside your mind as it slips just beneath the surface of sleep. Chapter 2. What really happens inside REM sleep. Your alarm suddenly interrupts an extraordinary moment. You're running through an unfamiliar cityscape, speaking to a long-lost friend, or perhaps soaring above mountains. Everything feels vivid, immersive, and strangely emotional. Then suddenly, it vanishes. You open your eyes, your heart still racing, muscles strangely heavy, as though you've become glued to the mattress. For a split second, it's hard to separate dream from life. But what's actually going on inside your head in that moment? To understand this peculiar experience, let's step back and consider what happens each night as we drift into sleep. Sleep isn't just an off switch, shutting off your brain and body from waking life. Instead, it's more like slowly moving down stair steps, each one a slightly different state of consciousness, each serving a unique biological purpose. Scientists have identified 4 distinct stages. Stage 1 is brief and inwardly quiet, the shallow edge of sleep, lasting only a few minutes. Your mind drifts, thoughts become hazy, muscles start relaxing. Drifting deeper, your breathing slows, signaling stage 2. Brainwaves begin showing intermittent bursts of activity, finding their calm rhythm. It's here where you are easily awakened, but are no longer fully alert. Further down into stages 3 and 4, the body experiences the richest benefits of deep rest. Your breathing steady, heartbeat slow, and brainwaves rhythmic, slow, and orderly. These are called slow-wave sleep stages, and if you wake during them, you'll likely feel groggy and disoriented. They rebuild your body, renew muscle and tissue, reinforce immune strength, and solidify long-term memory. Then, about 90 minutes into sleep, something strange happens. The brain abruptly shifts gears. Suddenly, your breathing quickens again, your heartbeat accelerates, and your eyes flicker rapidly beneath closed lids. This moment ushers in REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the stage most famously associated with dreaming. Observed in a sleeping subject, your eyes aren't calm like during slow-wave sleep. Instead, they're darting swiftly back and forth. What's going on here? Researchers discovered these rapid eye movements roughly correspond with visual experiences in your dreams. Your brain is actively producing images and scenes, almost like watching a film inside your own head. Let's call it the brain's replay theater. Interestingly, scientists noticed that during REM sleep, your brain waves closely resemble those recorded while awake. Imagine your brain activity as a radio station broadcast. While you're wide awake, your brain broadcasts clear signals tuned specifically for active thought, conversations, movement, and learning. As you drift into slow-wave sleep, the station shifts frequency. Waves become slow, rhythmic, gently reliable. But once you enter REM, suddenly your brain radio tunes back towards waking frequencies. The broadcast becomes active again, vibrant with internal dialogue and visual imagery, radio-like signals indicating a state similar to wakefulness. Yet despite this active mental state, you're still sound asleep. There's another surprising feature of REM sleep. Your muscles become paralyzed, temporarily switched off. Doctors call this phenomenon muscle atonia, a built-in safeguard stopping you from physically acting out dreams. Evolution built this powerful defense to protect you from hurting yourself. Imagine throwing punches or sprinting out of bed mid-nightmare. We first saw clear evidence for this safeguard when scientists experimentally switched off muscle atonia decades ago. In the 1960s, French neuroscientist Michel Jouvet performed groundbreaking sleep studies involving cats. By surgically disabling the mechanism responsible for muscle paralysis during REM, Jouvet observed something astonishing. Normally, the cats would lie quiet, muscles limp, despite experiencing active dreams. But now, without atonia's built-in brake, they suddenly sprang up mid-dream. Acting out vivid dream scenes, these otherwise gentle cats chased imaginary mice, stalked invisible prey, and pounced at nothing in particular, all while fully asleep. This dramatic example underscored how vital RE muscle paralysis is in protecting animals, including humans, from physical harm. But how exactly does your brain orchestrate this elaborate process, active dreaming combined with physical paralysis? The answer involves two important brain chemicals, acetylcholine and serotonin. Think of neurotransmitters like these as simple chemical messengers shuttling information from one neuron to another. During waking, these two chemicals engage in a delicate balancing act. Serotonin generally promotes feelings of calm and well-being, while acetylcholine helps your brain process sensory information, focus attention, and encode memories, keeping events synchronized and organized. But as you slip into REM sleep, the balance shifts dramatically. Acetylcholine levels rise like a tide flooding your brain, heightening visual imagery, ramping up emotional intensity, and creating immersive, dynamic dream scenarios. Meanwhile, serotonin concentrations drop significantly, shifting your dreams from logical, ordered experiences toward a chaotic, emotionally charged roller coaster. This unique chemical formula explains why dreams often feel emotionally vivid, yet fragmented, filled with intense, puzzling, and irrational scenarios. There's another fascinating signal guiding REM sleep, a specialized brainwave known as AIMA-P-GO wave, named for the regions of the brain involved. P for pons, a structure nestled deep near the brainstem. G for geniculate nuclei, thalamic structures acting as relay stations, and O for the visual cortex, areas responsible for processing sight. Each P-GO wave acts like a steady pulse of electrical energy traveling through these stations in rapid bursts every REM cycle. Think of P-GO waves as signals prompting visual and emotional information onto your mental cinema screen, triggering vivid scenes and powerful imagery that form the core of your dreams. Until recently, scientists knew surprisingly little about what precisely we dream. Dreams remained private corridors in our minds, inaccessible and invisible, even to advanced scientific instruments. But recent breakthroughs in brain imaging technology have shown extraordinary results. One research team in Japan, led by neuroscientist Yukiyasu Kamitani, captured brain activity patterns of people sleeping in MRI scanners. By meticulously decoding signals from visible cortex activity, they successfully identified the basic visual content of dreams. In other words, by studying MRI scans, Kamitani and his team constructed a rough visual recording, a grainy but recognizable movie of a dream. Seeing someone's dream projected onto a screen is astonishing proof that dreams carry specific visual signals, not abstract fluff, but actual encoded images. Then why, after experiencing such clarity and vividness, do most dreams evaporate quickly upon waking? The reason lies partly in brain chemistry shifts as we wake. As your nervous system exits dream state, acetylcholine and serotonin restore balance, shifting your brain mode from sensory-rich dream activity to logical rationality. Memory consolidating systems prioritize logical daily experiences, causing dream memory to slip through your fingers like water. At this point, it's important to address a common myth that only REM sleep involves dreaming. Not true. Recent research indicates people dream in nearly all stages of sleep, even lighter non-REM phases, and sometimes recall clear experiences after briefly dozing in lighter stages. Still, REM dreams tend to be uniquely vivid, visually immersive, and deeply emotional, qualities tied closely to specific chemical balances and pico wave activation I mentioned earlier. Another fascinating aspect is how dramatically dreams change when sleep is disrupted. Sleep deprivation, or running up what's called sleep debt, drastically reduces your brain's control over dream experiences. Like an overworked movie director forced to scramble together scenes without editing, your exhausted brain's dream logic becomes even stranger, harder to follow, and more emotionally turbulent. As you accrue sleep debt, your ability to have any semblance of clarity or stability in dreams diminishes sharply. It's clear science now knows much about the chemistry and complexity behind our nightly journeys. With enough understanding of neurotransmitters, brainwaves, and timing of REM, a thought-provoking question emerges. If we understand so clearly how dreaming happens, might we learn to intervene, to step inside our dreams with conscious intention and direct them in new ways? Perhaps dreams needn't remain passive experiences we glimpse briefly before forgetting. Instead, perhaps they could become frontiers where active control and exploration is possible. Let's see whether science can offer tools not only to peek inside these nightly theaters, but perhaps to start directing them. But before we uncover ways to steer dreams deliberately, let's first examine something equally fundamental. In our next chapter, we'll explore exactly why the human mind evolved to dream at all. Chapter 3: Tools and Tricks That Spark Lucid Dreams. It's a quiet midnight in a tiny dorm room, faint blue glow emanating from scattered electronic devices. On the narrow mattress lies Tyler, a 19-year-old psychology student, his eyes gently moving behind closed eyelids in that rhythmic dance characteristic of REM sleep. Suddenly, a sleek, crescent-shaped band around his forehead brightens faintly. Red LEDs, carefully calibrated, pulse gently, casting a subtle wash of warmth across his eyelids. For Tyler, this $30 gadget isn't just another tech toy. It's his personalized key into a lucid universe. The device Tyler uses is built explicitly to help users recognize dreams. It tracks rapid eye movement, REM, an essential sleep phase when dreaming occurs vividly. The sensor detects Tyler's slight eye flutters, a clear REM indicator, and cues the LEDs to flash just enough to prompt recognition without fully waking him. This gentle signal can nudge the sleeping mind from passive dreaming to active lucidity, the state in which the dreamer realizes they're dreaming, unlocking rich possibilities. Yet, a blinking mask isn't the only tool in Tyler's kit. During daytime breaks between classes, he pauses frequently to perform what's called a reality check. Reality checks are brief habits, practiced regularly during waking hours, that imprint deeply into daily routines and carry over into sleep. Tyler uses one of the simplest checks, counting his fingers. Awake. He calmly looks at his hand once, confirms 5 fingers, looks away, then looks back again. The second glance always matches the first, affirming reality. But in dreams, something odd usually occurs: a missing finger, an extra digit, or distorted shapes. By rehearsing the habit daily, Tyler hopes his dreaming self will instinctively perform this same check, triggering lucidity. Another popular reality check is the light switch test. Try flipping a nearby switch right now. In the real world, a switch always affects the lighting. But in dreams, our brain struggles with logic and continuity. Flip the switch in a lucid dream, and nothing usually happens. Lights remain stubbornly unchanged. Noticing these small inconsistencies sparks self-awareness. Wait a second. Am I dreaming right now? But utilizing gadgets and reality tests alone isn't the only path into lucid dreaming. Consider the mild technique, short for mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, developed decades ago by psychologist Stephen LaBerge. Imagine Grace, an executive assistant who's determined to have her first lucid dream. She's heard that the clearest technique involves waking up briefly right after a dream, usually after 4 or 5 hours of rest, around 4 a.m. Grace sets her alarm softly and awakens, still thoroughly tired and half submerged in the dreamy fog. She then carefully rehearses an intention in her mind, something simple and direct like, "The next time I'm dreaming, I'll remember I'm dreaming." After several repetitions, she drifts back into sleep, freshly focused intentions hovering in her subconscious. Through repetition, the technique stretches naturally from conscious intention directly into dreaming awareness. For thousands, including Grace, this technique provides consistent results. A close companion to MyLD is the Wake Back to Bed, or WBTB method. Studies consistently demonstrate lucid dreaming peaks following brief nighttime awakening, precisely when REM periods lengthen naturally in later sleep cycles. Setting an alarm about 2/3 through normal sleep duration, generally around sunrise or shortly before, boosts the chance of lucidity. The stimulation of waking promotes clarity, but the sleepy state created by careful timing allows easy re-entry into dreams. Combine this strategy with personal affirmations, like the mild method, for even greater effectiveness. Beyond techniques alone, science has explored the impact of certain nutritional interventions. A remarkable study involving vitamin B6, taken right before sleep, found noticeable enhancement of dream vividness and color perception for some participants. Although research continues, dream experimenters may wish to test if dietary changes impact dream lucidity or intensity. The tools of lucid dreaming have expanded swiftly into today's technology-driven culture. Smartphones omnipresent in daily life also provide innovatively simple methods to nudge dreamers awake into awareness. Apps downloaded directly onto smartphones silently rest beside sleepers' pillows and register their subtle nighttime movements. By detecting sleep cycles from micro-movements, they deliver tailored audio cues precisely timed for when dreaming is most likely occurring. Gentle chimes, whispers, or soft phrases like, "You're dreaming now," seep discreetly into dreams themselves, prompting users to question their reality. But sometimes simpler still proves best. Keeping an old-fashioned dream journal often outperforms expensive gadgets. Writing down nightly dream content on waking enhances recall significantly, reinforcing the mental habit of paying active attention to dream experiences. Journals remain inexpensive, accessible, and enjoyable ways to carefully observe dreams. On the other side sit sophisticated EEG headbands, advanced tools that actually map brainwave patterns during sleep, providing precise data about REM cycles. While more accurate than phone-based apps, EEG devices come with steep prices and complex handling requirements that don't fit everyone's comfort or budget. Kickstarter home of innovation is filled with examples, successful and disastrous, in lucid dreaming tools. The Remy Sleep Mask became a Kickstarter darling, conveniently priced and user-friendly, providing gentle LED cues into dreams. Its simplicity resonated widely and resulted in robust customer satisfaction. Conversely, Aurora, an ambitious EEG headband, illustrates how complexity can stumble. Despite promising features, Aurora overestimated development timelines, underestimated costs and delivered a complicated and frustrating user experience rather than ease and preparation for lucid dreams. Meanwhile, scientists have conducted experiments employing transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, a method using gentle magnetic pulses to stimulate specific brain regions externally. When researchers targeted portions of the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for critical evaluation, some sleeping participants spontaneously reported vivid dream awareness and lucidity. Though not yet practical at home, TMS provides fascinating insights into brain mechanics underlying conscious dreaming, potentially paving the way for clinical applications. Every night dreamers, however, continue sharing powerful testimonials of exploring new worlds vividly alive in their dreams. A teenage soccer player vividly describes deep freedom flying over a mountain forest, fully aware he's dreaming, experiencing boundless joy and exhilaration. Others recount therapeutic journeys. Emily, once submerged in crippling social anxiety, rehearses calmly meeting new people inside her dreams, finding comfort, translating gradually into waking courage. From pure delight to profound self-therapy, lucid dreaming continues empowering ordinary people in extraordinary ways. But caution is essential. Persistent intentional awakenings and interrupted sleep phases occasionally result in daytime drowsiness, mental fog, and sleep fragmentation. Disrupted sleep can impair focus, emotional resilience, and general well-being. Comprehensive lucid dream exploration should remain conscious of this balance and prioritize healthy restorative sleep. If you're considering testing lucid dreaming yourself, a straightforward checklist ensures safe practice at home. First, approach the techniques patiently and consistently, employing gentle reminders rather than forceful awakenings. Second, maintain proper sleep schedules to secure adequate rest. Third, avoid obsessive pursuit. Lucid dreaming is safe in moderation, but problematic when it interferes with daily functioning. Lastly, if sleep quality declines significantly or negative experiences occur frequently, consider pausing and consulting a healthcare professional. Not everyone, though, embraces these practices openly. Cultural attitudes toward dreaming vary greatly, with some labeling lucid dreaming as taboo. In certain cultures, dreams represent private sacred territory. Deliberate intervention sparks unease or suspicion. Some fear intentionally manipulating dreams could alter their psychological balance or invite unwanted emotional confusion. Awareness, dialogue, and respect toward these various perspectives ensure safe, informed exploration of conscious dreaming. Lucid dreaming also currently plays a fascinating role in clinical experimentation. Promising early-stage clinical trials investigate lucid dreaming's potential to support post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, recovery. Participants prone to trauma nightmares learn to recognize they're inside a dream and consciously redirect the story, gaining powerful autonomy over their experiences. Through meditation practiced inside dreams, veterans and survivors experience substantial relief, optimism, and psychological resilience. Yet as these high-tech dreaming instruments become more standardized, broader societal questions emerge. When delicate brainwave data collection expands outward from clinics and bedrooms into servers and databases, privacy concerns inevitably grow serious. How far should our dream data travel? Who controls access to intimate nightly experiences? Moreover, when gadgets can actively alter sleep patterns through direct stimulation, ethical considerations magnify. Boundaries previously clear between sleep, dream, and private consciousness are dissolving. Our dreams are perhaps humanity's most intimate territory. We keep them named and numbered privately or share selectively with those we trust. But as dreams become accessible to gadgets, algorithms, and perhaps wider networks, careful consideration is essential. Lucid dreaming opens incredible possibilities. But once dream worlds entwine with waking technology, we're stepping into fascinating but complicated terrain. As we move forward, we tread carefully on how much of our sleeping selves we're ready to share, curiously, cautiously, across that new invisible boundary where data and awareness intersect. Chapter 4. Is dream privacy already under threat? A fascinating headline grabbed global attention earlier this year. Japanese lab reconstructs dream images using AI in 2023. This wasn't science fiction. Researchers at Kyoto University succeeded in decoding images seen by people while they slept, translating subtle brain activity patterns into visible pictures. But how did they achieve this extraordinary result, and what does it truly mean for our privacy? Let's walk through the science together, step by careful step. In this experiment, researchers used a technology called functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, which detects changes in blood flow and oxygen levels inside the brain. When certain neural pathways fire, they require oxygen-rich blood. This blood flow increase is what the fMRI scanner picks up, indirectly capturing how the brain is working second by second. The Kyoto scientists first trained their algorithms using large libraries of awake brain scans. Participants viewed thousands of different images, landscapes, objects, faces, while fMRI recorded their brain's unique response patterns. Over time, the AI algorithm became skilled at linking particular images with specific neural responses. Then the groundbreaking shift occurred. Subjects drifted to sleep inside the scanner, and as they entered the early dreaming stages, scientists gently awakened them, asking what they'd been seeing in their dreams. Matching descriptions from the dreamers with the brain patterns recorded moments before waking up, the AI began to identify connections, correctly guessing rough visual categories in subsequent dreams without prompt. Slowly, pixelated reconstructions emerged, imprecise yet recognizable, representing dream imagery in digital form for the very first time. Now, before any sense of alarm sets in, let's clarify something important. Current dream imaging technology remains extremely limited. The reconstructed dream images are blurry, simplified silhouettes, far from clear photographs. These renderings roughly distinguish faces from household objects or buildings from scenery, but they cannot show detailed identities, words, or exact scenarios. Today, no one can yet watch your dreams with clarity. But technology tends to progress quickly, and what now seems harmlessly pixelated might soon gain alarming precision. Modern societies are becoming increasingly comfortable surrendering data to devices designed for convenience, and the latest addition is consumer sleep tracking gadgets. These wearables or bedside monitors record and analyze your sleep cycles, breathing patterns, heart rate, tossing, and turning. Incredibly intimate biometrics uploaded automatically to company servers in the cloud. Consider carefully what is already quietly unfolding. Every night, millions of human beings relinquish detailed sleep data to centralized databases. If researchers can decode dreams from labs using sophisticated scanners, could companies someday process these nightly datasets with similar methods, mining our subconscious for valuable insights? Perhaps your inner dream imagery could become the next frontier for targeted advertisements. Imagine waking up craving coffee, unaware your nighttime dreams were nudged by subtle imagery influenced by an advertiser. Who, then, owns the mental imagery unfolding within your own sleeping mind? While reflections like this seemed purely speculative a decade ago, today they appear remarkably plausible. After all, fiction has warned us repeatedly, not just gently warned, but vividly illustrated potential consequences. Consider the 2002 Steven Spielberg film Minority Report, where billboards and shops personalize ads in real time, probing and reading subconscious desires. Similarly, Christopher Nolan's Inception showed a world in which specialists could infiltrate and implant thoughts directly, tapping far beneath conscious thought. Once mere thrilling entertainment, these visions now parallel real scientific advances in disturbing ways. Yet this technology doesn't only raise commercial questions. Some legal scholars express deep concern that dream data may someday be called into court. Could our own dreams become evidence in a subpoena? What if a criminal investigation involved reconstructing dreams to detect potential intention or guilt through imagery captured in our sleep tracking devices? The military, too, has shown keen interest in dreams, not to use them as evidence but as tools. Studies increasingly suggest that nightmares worsen soldiers' post-traumatic symptoms. Researchers working alongside military organizations now explore ways to identify and gently interrupt traumatic dreams mid-sleep, potentially alleviating suffering by steering unconscious minds toward peaceful relaxation. Yet even in these compassionate scenarios, questions arise about consent and privacy. If an AI-equipped headset quietly intervenes, modifying your dream's trajectory without your waking consent, who decides what types of dreaming are acceptable? Could we risk losing the sovereignty of our own unconscious experiences? These aren't academic questions. In fact, early pioneering work has already proven this principle possible. A notable study from MIT published in 2019 found that researchers could embed an external stimulus, specifically words like fork, into sleeping subjects' dreams using targeted sensory cues during the hypnagogic state, the transitional phase between wakefulness and sleep. Subjects later, upon awakening, confirmed that the seemingly random word had indeed appeared within their dream narrative. This capability to subtly inject external influences into dreaming minds is no longer science fiction. It is here now and demonstrably practical. But let's pause, step back, and consider the psychological implications. Dreams offer a profound domain, a private place where thoughts, fears, memories, creativity, and aspirations freely intertwine. Having our innermost imagination observed, analyzed, or even slightly nudged risks transforming what should remain fully individual and private into something open to external manipulation. Imagine growing up knowing technology continuously monitors and extracts insights directly from your dreams. Could that alter self-perception, creativity, emotional health, or identity in ways we may not fully anticipate? Philosophers and ethicists are taking this very seriously. One leading ethicist recently suggested establishing a firm guideline, something she termed the Dreamer's Bill of Rights, designed to protect our subconscious sovereignty. Its central tenets: absolute ownership of one's brain-generated images, mandatory consent measures governing use of any dream-related data, and complete transparency about commercial or governmental exploration of dreams. Legislation like this may help us navigate the uncharted ethical waters approaching quickly. We must also balance potential therapeutic benefits against surveillance risks. Imagine the profound therapeutic opportunities if psychologists carefully leverage dream decoding to understand hidden anxieties, tackle deep-seated trauma, or enhance emotional recovery. Yet alongside hopeful possibilities, there exists substantial peril. Surveillance capitalism, a system that profits immensely through the commodification of personal and behavioral data, might extend its reach into our nights, monetizing the infinite landscapes of dreaming itself. Weighing careful therapeutic use against corporate monetization is perhaps our most critical immediate challenge. Now picture tomorrow's landscape clearly. Could advertisers use dream nudging to encourage product preference, quietly but effectively, shifting purchasing behaviors through reinforcing dreams? Imagine falling asleep and routinely encountering subtle, but pleasant dream situations involving certain brands, locations, or lifestyle aspirations. The next morning, would you find yourself subconsciously drawn toward products advertised quietly during the night? Advertising already shapes conscious desire in myriad subtle and tangible ways. Moving that power directly into dreaming would introduce profoundly and new ethical questions humanity must urgently address. Yet, amidst these uncertainties, a responsible pathway forward still remains possible. We are not yet powerless or predestined for nightmare scenarios. At this critical turning point, thoughtful consideration, robust public dialogue, ethical regulation, and proactive legislation provide us opportunities to define clear ethical guardrails, ensuring dream monitoring respects human dignity and autonomy. In the chapters to come, we will explore these pathways thoughtfully, charting courses that honor humanity, privacy, and dignity, carefully avoiding unintended futures. Let's continue this journey with mindfulness, imagination, and profound responsibility. Chapter 5. Where Dream Hacking Could Take Us Next. It's the year 2040, and the Monday morning rush looks a bit different than today. Instead of logging into Zoom or commuting through crowded streets, workers around the globe begin their week by slipping into gentle sleep, meeting each other in shared dream landscapes. Picture your team standing at the edge of an imagined lake, sunlight filtering through imaginary trees, while your manager calmly guides you through trust exercises. Meetings aren't held in stuffy rooms or glitchy video calls anymore. They're hosted collaboratively, with people sharing inventively crafted dream spaces, each as vivid as any real-world meeting room, but infinitely more flexible. Here, coworkers separated by continents can walk through simulated forests, talk openly beside impossible rivers, building connections as they move together through imagined realms. This vision of a workplace sounds distant, nearly impossible, but given current developments, it may soon become reality. Already, research labs around the globe, including major organizations such as DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, are exploring similar concepts. DARPA is investing millions into projects where individuals can learn during sleep, specifically language acquisition. For instance, imagine learning vocabulary lists as you dream. Waking up knowing 20 new Spanish words without consciously reviewing them once. Right now, DARPA-funded researchers are experimenting with precisely timed auditory cues played gently through sleeping subjects' headphones. They're working to synchronize these external signals precisely with the brain's natural patterns of memory consolidation overnight, aiming to strengthen neural pathways linked to newly learned words while the dreamer remains entirely unaware. Yet important questions remain unanswered. Can memory consolidation somehow be safely amplified beyond the brain's normal nightly process? Sleep normally helps solidify newly learned information, transferring short-term memories into long-term storage during deep sleep cycles. Scientists now wonder if gentle external interventions could potentially strengthen this natural process without causing unnatural interference or harmful side effects. So far, the data is cautiously optimistic, though much more research is needed before we understand clearly how far this process might go, or where the limits should sensibly be placed. Not only academic institutions are pushing these boundaries. Artists, too, are exploring possibilities through dream-based creativity. A series of artist collectives worldwide has begun planning performance events, transitioning from virtual reality experiences directly into shared dream spaces. Participants could begin their night inside immersive virtual environments, carefully orchestrated by creators, then slowly transition naturally into dreaming as their brains drift into sleep. These creators, working with neuroscientists, want dreams themselves to become their canvas. Imagine joining thousands of dreamers to experience live performances, musicians playing visual music shaped not by external screens or speakers, but by neural stimulation delivered calmly into the sleeping mind itself. Researchers in pharmaceuticals are also invested heavily in understanding sleep and dreaming, particularly lucid dreaming, the intriguing state in which you become consciously aware within your own dream. Lucidity normally comes rarely, briefly, and unpredictably for most people, but pharmaceutical interventions are quietly showing promise to change that. Right now, experimental medications are in testing phases designed explicitly to promote stable lucid states, reducing the panicked awakenings and stress responses typically associated with gaining lucidity. The goal is a gentle chemical nudge, enough stability to experience vivid dreaming consciously, safely, without compromising the quality of healthy sleep patterns. But who stands to benefit economically from these breakthroughs? Unsurprisingly, corporations see opportunity here too. The concept of sleep commerce, selling services delivered specifically during dream states, has begun drawing attention. Imagine purchasing nightly guided dream experiences like luxury spa treatments, simulated vacations, or lifestyle adventures delivered gently to your sleeping mind. Some futurists speculate this could evolve into a massive industry, structured dreams becoming another aspect of your monthly subscriptions, tailored intentionally and personalized to your preferences and emotional wellness goals. Of course, the most important potential applications of dream technologies aren't just commercial. Mental health professionals are cautiously optimistic as well. Rehearsing exposure therapy, for instance, where people confront traumatic memories or fears in controlled therapeutic environments, can potentially become more gentle and accessible when performed while safely asleep. A person with severe anxiety could rehearse calmly interacting with triggers like crowded rooms, spiders, heights, or traumatic memories without the extreme stress normally involved, potentially accelerating emotional healing safely and privately. Even beyond therapy and learning, dream preservation itself holds intriguing possibilities. A growing community interested in the digital afterlife has proposed archiving dream diaries, your nighttime narratives collected over many years, into personal museums or libraries. Imagine future generations exploring the inner psychological landscapes you've accumulated, browsing interactive dream archives carefully collected over decades. Such archives could transform the ephemeral nature of nightly dreams into permanent reflections, capturing the hidden aspects of what makes us uniquely ourselves. But amid all this enthusiasm, there's a significant opposing viewpoint that cannot be ignored. Some psychologists and philosophers urge caution, warning us that dreaming serves crucially as the brain's creative playground precisely because it lacks structure, rules, and conscious direction. Dreams naturally offer rich, symbolic imagery precisely because they arise unhindered by external intentionality or human logic. With systematic control and engineering of dreams, risk losing their spontaneous creativity, the unconscious spark that provides humanity's essential insight and discovery. This very question highlights core differences between futurists like Ray Kurzweil, who predicts an era of enhanced human cognition through intensive dream guidance, and sleep researchers, notably Matthew Walker, who strongly emphasize the importance of natural undirected dreaming. Kurzweil envisions technological dream states unlocking enormous untapped human potential, dramatically enriching intellect, creativity, and productivity by giving us structured, intentional dreaming experiences at will. By contrast, Walker urges careful restraint, recommending we cautiously preserve the valuable unpredictability of spontaneous dreams, warning that overly structuring nighttime experiences may hinder creativity and emotional balance by imposing rules and expectations onto this delicate inner terrain. If universal lucid dreaming became accessible and routine, there's a genuine concern that it could lose that uniqueness, that rare thrill we feel upon recognizing our own awareness inside our dreams. Like capturing a butterfly too often. Eventually, it may become ordinary, even dull. Perhaps, as some suggest, the allure lies significantly in its fleeting and spontaneous nature, an experience so special precisely because its spontaneity resists total control. Education might balance those extremes beautifully. Already research suggests practicing music, athletic maneuvers, or fresh academic concepts during REM sleep, the sleep stage where most vivid dreams occur, can significantly improve daytime performance. Imagine musicians rehearsing new compositions overnight, practicing complex finger arrangements unconsciously in their sleeping minds, waking with subtle mastery of difficult passages. Schools and universities could adopt this practical dream training, gently enhancing student learning without sacrificing the essential unpredictability and imaginative quality of dreaming itself. So how can you personally start exploring this fascinating frontier tonight? Simple first steps involve consistently journaling your dreams each morning, setting clear intentions before sleep, and practicing mild waking reality checks. Moments during your daily routine where you question your reality, building habits that gently carry over into dreaming states. Approaching dream awareness mindfully, patiently, enhances the experience without pushing too aggressively against sleep's natural rhythms. As we consider these powerful possibilities and potential pitfalls, careful, thoughtful boundaries become crucial. Like all evolving fields of biology, neuroscience, and technology, dreaming requires gentle respect for the delicate balance our brains evolved naturally over millions of years. Innovations should honor the deeply human value inherent in unstructured dreams, setting boundaries that safeguard creativity and unconscious reflection, even as incredible new possibilities unfold. Ultimately, these striking advancements compel us to reflect deeply upon what makes us fundamentally human. What happens to human identity when even dreams, our innermost sanctuary, begin mingling routinely with technological intent and engineered interactions? Will we still feel truly ourselves when even our subconscious experiences become carefully crafted products or targeted enhancements? Perhaps even in a future of programmable dreams, our most important questions remain timelessly human. How much structure benefits creativity and happiness? How much order enriches our inner worlds? And how freely must our dreams roam to maintain our essential humanity?